Howdy, Sensei Pong. Welcome to the Pongcast. Before this little mini-pod update begins, I need to mention an important bit of news that may pertain to some of you retro tech-savvier fans out there, as it may hypothetically apply to myself, but I won't disclose that because it's a hypothetical. So, if you're into emulators and the like I myself may be hypothetically, you may or may not know that some emulators are tricky to create, and the development for a few takes years to possibly over a decade of its initial console release. I didn't have this issue myself. I've got a Switch, access to a PS3 and PS4, and mostly because I wasn't searching for it. But if you are, hypothetically, looking for a Nintendo Switch emulator, don't. They do not exist at the moment. I cannot stress this enough. I don't want my listeners having issues with viruses, malware, or in the end, breaking any of their systems. As far as I know, this also pertains to the Xbox One, PS4, and PS Vita. Really, anything in the newer generations of consoles. If a site says, "Yo, I got them PS4 and Switch emulators. You want to hit a Scorpio? This is pre-market quality stuff." It's a lie. Don't fall for it. A small unspoken rule I follow myself, hypothetically, if I were to look, is that any console younger than 10 to 15 years is normally not there yet in the emulator scene, and if they are, not very stable or support many titles. Also, if I were to hypothetically recommend a site for emulators, it would hypothetically be emulator-zone.com, which, with an easy hypothetical Google search, you should be able to find it. There, from what I've heard from all the little birdies that fly in my room and poop on the things that I have, said is that they've been reliable and safe for over a decade. Hypothetically speaking, of course, that's hypothetically www.emulator-zone.com. Links are not available in the description below because this is all just hypothetical information. Got my legal bases covered, yo. Sensei in the house. Anyways, with that, on to the update. You may be thinking to yourself, dude, where's the Sensei? He hasn't posted in a long time. And with that, I'm sorry once again. This update is mostly pertaining to the podcast. I had a slight groove going for a second there a while ago, but with a few bad recordings, audio issues, etc., with the format that I have right now, it's hard to feel good about releasing an older, unreleased episode with news topics that only really pertain to, then, last week, and beyond. It's a tricky thing, really. I've never viewed myself as a small-time content creator or my YouTube channel as a news source. Also, I never really wanted to cover the news too much, as it seems overall that it may be a rabbit hole full of Pandora's boxes, and if I'm not careful with what I discuss, may turn into another drama channel among thousands. And I don't want that. You probably don't want that. I don't know. It's fun clickbait. Overall, I want this to be a chill podcast where I can talk a little bit about game news, but mostly chat about games, new and old. So let's say I do go into any sort of news. It would be relatively brief. It would probably take up no more than the first 15 to 20 minutes of the podcast. Perhaps its own mini-pod if it's a bigger topic. I'm not entirely sure. It would depend on a as-per-topic basis. This is subject to change for certain topics or rumory speculation trains as well. But it will pertain to gaming specifically, be it video games, board games, card games, and maybe sports and esports. But don't expect a deep thought trail or analysis unless it's something that I find truly intriguing or necessary. Also, unless I get an outpour of, "No, Pong, please stop," don't be surprised if every so often I'll do a mini-pod of whatever. So, what's the podcast going to be like from here on out, and where is it going in the future? First part, like I said, we'll be covering the news briefly, which might include some notable releases, leaks, and at times, a tacked-on segment I'll probably call Rumor Mill, unless I can get a better name for it. But mostly news I'm interested in, or I think my audience may be interested in. So, basically, PC gaming, Nintendo stuff, any big, TCG news, any arcade things if possible, handheld gaming, and retro stuff, mostly. Then keeping it at a minimum, unlike before where I would ramble on every single game I've been playing, I'll just cover the notable titles briefly. That shouldn't take more than 5 minutes, maybe 10 if it's something really interesting and new. After all that, the bulk of the podcast will begin. So, I've decided to start a video game book club for myself and possibly include some guests I know from time to time. No guarantees though. It'll probably just be me. If you're wondering, I've decided to take up the video game book club because all the video game book clubs I'm aware of are mostly defunct. So yeah, I wanted one, and with that, assumed other people may as well. So I decided to start my own, so you as the audience doesn't have to be sad that there aren't any current ones. This is also where I ask you, as the audience, to join along, but only if it's a game you're interested in, since I will be covering multiple games new and old each month. Don't feel obligated to play every game on the list. If anything, just listen to the podcast, leave a review on iTunes, and decide for yourself, based on my experiences, if it's something that you may want to look up for your own gaming ventures. Now, unless it's a themed month, where there's an extra game on each episode like what's coming up in June, each major episode will occur once a month with 3 games on the list, plus what I call an extra credit podcast, where I cover another 3 games that you may want to play if the major 3 don't suit your fancy. So if you're curious on what the kickoff theme for June is, it's Handheld Gaming Month, because I like handhelds because I can play them on the potty. Episode 1, which will upload sometime around the 15th to the 20th of June 2017, will include Monster Boy The Dragon's Trap, which is available on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, should be available on Steam and GOG by June 8th as the new game, a revisiting of Lumines on the PSP as my retro pick, Story of Seasons, Trio of Towns, which is available on 3DS as a wild card game, and Kirby's Dreamland, which is available on Game Boy and Virtual Console as the themed extra. The Extra Credit podcast, which will fall around the end of the month of June 2017, will include Kamiko, which is available on the Switch as a new game, Shining Force 2, The Sword of Hajya, I don't know how to pronounce that, which is available on the Game Gear and the Nintendo Virtual Console, I believe, as my retro game, Mega Man 1 on the Game Boy. This is a requested game by a fan as my wild card, and probably Rune Factory from the Nintendo DS as my themed extra. The last one, Rune Factory, it all just really depends on how my votes turn out on Twitter. I'm running a poll there. There's only a couple days left for the poll, so if you want to vote, go check out my Twitter at @sensei_pong. A link is available in the description below. Again, just to cover my bases, if you want to play along, the June's list of book club games include Monster Boy The Dragon's Trap, Lumines, Story of Seasons, Trio of Towns, Kirby's Dreamland, Kamiko, Shining Force 2, The Sword of Hajya, Mega Man on the Game Boy, and a fan-voted game which will probably be Rune Factory, because that game is an excellent time sink and people on the internet are sadistic. No, I ain't salty. I love Rune Factory games, I just haven't played the original in a really long time. So I actually don't even remember what all I'm up against, so we'll see. Should be fun regardless. So yeah, I've got my work cut out for me, but if you've noticed, the games I've decided on for June are vastly differing sizes. I do this for 2 reasons. Not every listener will have the time to play a massive game, and having vastly different games both adds variety and saves my sanity from collapsing into the void. Yarr. Yeah, I ain't no completionist. I ain't doing that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Anyways, if you have any recommendations for July games, feel free to tweet at me or leave a comment below if you're watching this on YouTube. Don't recommend Splatoon 2 though, as I'm already sort of planning that as an extra credit in July. So, if you are curious, the rules of this video game book club are pretty simple. 3 games an episode, 1 new from the past 4 years, a retro title of any sort, and a wild card. So yeah, for now, we'll run this format for a few months and see how it goes. Maybe make a few changes here and there, but for now, this is how it stands. Either way, hope that clears some things up, and stay tuned as we get our game on for cereal this time. Excuse the cringe, but the hype is real. My little, Ponglets. That sounds gross. I'll just call you my students of Pong, because that makes you sound like a cult, and that's kind of funny to me. Until next time, Sensei Pong signing out.